Welcome to the Political Oracle, a segment of our Talk Chat podcast that we bring to you political commentaries every week. And this week I'm going to bring to you 80 strategies that will not work in 2027. These political strategies are going to be based on a number of issues, especially one of them that I mentioned in our last video, and that is a kind of generation, actually two generations, that will determine the outcome of the 2027 elections, and especially the presidential election. But before I do that, I want to offer what I call a political benediction of this particular show. Number one is a realization that no one will ever investigate why you lost an election. They will, however, take you even to court to investigate the reason as to why you won an election. And as we know in Kenya, they will also demand that you open servers. Benediction number two. Those who know win over those who do not know anything about politics. Benediction number three. Politics are won on the strategy stage. They are not won on the voting day. And because of that, let me give you some truths about the Millennials and Gen Z generations. These are the two generations, as I said previously in our previous show, two generations that will highly determine the outcome of the 2027 general elections in Kenya. Note this, in 2027, the oldest millennial, who was born actually in 1981, will be 46 years old. And the youngest millennial will be 31 years old. It means the oldest Gen Z, who was born in 1997, in 2027, they will be 30 years. And the youngest Gen Z, who was born in 2012, will be 15 years. It means majority of the Gen Zs will be voting. All the millennials will be voting, if at all they register as voters. Note also, 60 to 70% of Gen Zs are children of the millennials. What does that tell you? It speaks a lot on the influence each of these two generations are going to have on each other regarding what and whom they want to vote in. Remember, in 2022, millennials and Gen Zs composed over 55% of the Kenyan population. It is projected that in 2027, between 65 and 70% of the Kenyan population will be made of these two generations. And that is very critical so that you understand the reason why we need to continue having a lot of interest. And if you are vying for any political seat, you must have an interest in these two generations because they will form a majority of the voters come 2027. Now, the 8 political strategies that will never work that I am presenting today, and of course, I might be wrong when it comes to other generations, but I'm looking at these two generations, and I want to curate the 80 strategies that will never work for these two generations, simply because they worked in other generations. There is a book that is called What Brought You Here Will Not Take You There. I think that is the correct title, but you can check. Now, strategy number one that will not work is this: mobilizing voters alongside ethnic groups. This is one of the most used strategy by politicians, and it has been used since independence. Remember, majority of millennials and Gen Zs are born of parents from different tribes, and you can prove me right. They are therefore tribeless. And I think that is one of the identity they have been giving themselves. If you remember in 2024, when they went on the streets to protest against the 2024 finance bill, they were saying they are tribeless. They were right. Number 2, mobilizing using physical games. This is a very common strategy that is used by politicians, organizing football matches, organizing whatever games, physical. Remember, this generation is a digital generation. One of them, the millennials, they are pioneers of computers. They are pioneers of digital tools. The other generation, they are children, as we have seen. They are actually the real users and the gurus in the use of technology. They will not be found physically. Majority of them will be found in digital platforms. Number 3, using printed posters. This one is uncontestable. These generations are digital once again, and they do not know, they cannot go around looking at posters mounted on trees, on electric posts, on buildings. They will be looking at digital posters mounted on social media platforms. So if you want to make posters, do not print them for 2027. Number 4, targeting kingpins. Actually, we know that politicians, when they want to win over, they usually target kingpins in some areas. And they believe that when you capture that kingpin, you will have captured the people. That strategy will not work when it comes to 2027. The generations we are talking about, they identify with some people. Capture those they identify with, and because they have no solid leaders, because remember, they were saying we are leaderless. It is true. They have no leader. They only identify with some people for some time. And when they are done with them, they drop them. They are very fluid, especially when it comes to them having a leader. Number 5, another strategy that will not work is using traditional media. My. They value instant communication. The Gen Zs and millennials value instant communication. That is why they are on TikTok, and they also value emojis. They use social media, to amplify their voices, whether that voices are social, political, or otherwise, even cultural. So if you rely on the traditional media, if you use traditional media to capture them, you will lose big. Number 6, political party loyalty. I know most Kenyans now are asking if you want to contest for a seat, which party do you belong to? That is coming to an end. This generation have no party loyalty. They have no brand loyalty. And they focus on individuals and whatever promises them easy life. So the issue of the political party may not work from 2027 going forward, because we have a kind of generation that focuses on individuals. Number 7, endorsement by kingpins. Just like I have mentioned about this, there are some kingpins who think, because they have had a lot of following since independence in this country, once they endorse people, the people get elected. I'm telling you, with this generation, the generation value what they endorse. They don't value what is brought to them. It means if you want to win this generation, you gotta get them endorse you through their platforms. If you get them endorse you, it will be more advantageous than you being endorsed by a kingpin. The last point, and before I say this, I want to encourage you to subscribe to this YouTube channel, because we will be bringing you political commentaries and analysis each and every week. The last point is mobilizing using religion. Yes, we know, like last time, there was a lot of mobilization of voters through the churches, through the mosques and other religious organizations. This generation cannot bow to that because they do not trust religion. I can tell you, they tend toward a more liberal stance in their life. Therefore, if you decide to mobilize them using religion, it may not have a lot of significance to them. With that, you have a takeaway for the 2027. Thank you very much.